Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the On the Whistle podcast. My name is Ali Howorth, and we are talking WAFCON today. That's right, the Women's Africa Cup of Nations match day one is over. All three groups have played their games, and we kind of are as we were in many ways from what we expected. But let's get into it. It's been an exciting group stage so far, and it was kicked off with a brilliant game. First match, we knew it would be Morocco versus Zambia, opening game, two of the big dogs going at it, and we got the match that we were expecting. A lot of the talk around this tournament before it kicked off was, okay, Barbara Banda, she missed the last one. She didn't play in the one before that. This is her first time at the WAFCON. How is she going to do it on the big stage? It took her 2 minutes, like not even 2 minutes for her to get the goal. Poor goalkeeping from Khadija Emrichi, but you saw what Banda can do. Picks the ball up on half line, drives forward, shot from the edge of the box, goes in. Suddenly Zambia, it's right off the bat. Morocco had this amazing start to the last WAFCON. They won all three groups. It's not so easy now. Zambia know what they're doing. They've got a great coach in Nora Hoptoul, and they really nailed it in terms of playing against Morocco. Morocco fought back into it, won a penalty. Ibtasin Draidi puts it away, 1-1. But again, Zambia, you just see the quality that they have. Last time they didn't have Barbara Bandit, they didn't have Rachel Kundanji. This time they have both. And I remember saying at the time during the game, man, Zambia don't even have to try play football. They can just sit back and defend and just launch it up because Barbara Banda will do the rest. And that's exactly what happened. Long ball up, chests it down, immediately turns, slips through Kindananji, finish 2-1. Job's a good one. But in that second half, Zambia flagged. They looked tired, and Morocco grew and grew and grew into this game. They brought in players like Sanam Sudi, players like that who bring a bit more dimension to their game, a bit more craft, and most importantly, the captain, the star of this team, Ghislaine Chebec, got on the ball, and she did in the final minutes what she does best. Brilliant curling effort from the edge of the box, 2-2. Fantastic end to the game, fantastic start to the game, fantastic start to the tournament. So Zambia and Morocco drew 2-2. This is a big point for both teams, and huge for Morocco, because we know going into this tournament that the second place in this team will play first place in Group B, and we know that's probably going to be Nigeria. So it leaves it finally balanced. But as we thought, okay, this Zambia and Morocco, they both look good. This is their group to dominate. This is going to be a two-horse race. Boy, did Senegal come out firing. They smashed DRC 4-0. It could have been more. Both Mama Diop and Nguenar Ndiaye, apologies for the pronunciation, scored a brace. Now, Diop didn't really she wasn't really a presence at the last WAFCON. For me, Ndiaye and Hapsatou Diallo were the two kind of superstars in that Senegal team that actually almost made it to the World Cup. They were kind of one game away. But Diop comes into the team, and this front three is serious. It is no joke. She scores one of the goals of the tournament so far, a lovely lofted volley over the goalkeeper. Diallo looks so dangerous. Diaye gets a lovely brace. Second one, a fantastic 1-2 where she plays it out into Diallo on the wing. She whips it in, header. Job's a good one. I personally thought, I'll hold my hands up, I thought DRC would probably sneak it as the third best team in this group. I thought that they would be really competitive. Obviously, this team that's built off the back of this TP Mazembe team, but they were missing their two biggest stars, Ruth Kipoye and Marville Kanjinga, who was missing out because of a suspension, because of yellow cards she accumulated in the qualifiers, which I think is the stupidest rule in football. Get away with that. If you've qualified, wipe those suspensions, unless maybe it's a red card, but 2 yellows, she misses this. It's outrageous. But DRC now have a huge task on their hands to get back into this, because now they play Zambia and Morocco. But Senegal have thrown this into the mix, because if they can get draws against these other teams, that goal difference, I think we know DRC will be better once they've got those two in their team. They will be better in those next couple games. So suddenly it's not a given that Zambia and Morocco are going to come in the top two. And of course, the team that comes third will play South Africa. So it's like, okay, if you come first, you're getting likely third place in Group B or C. Could be Mali, could be Ghana, could be Tunisia. Or if you come second or third, suddenly you're getting Nigeria, South Africa. So it's a huge, huge win for Senegal. Really sets up this group fabulously. And of course, they will be playing Nigeria, because the way Nigeria played in that first game, they look like they're hungry. I mean, I remember speaking to Ashley Plumpter ahead of the tournament, and she was saying how hungry this team is. Like last time, they were nervous, there was pressure. This time, they're focused. They're on this mission X. and they got that 3-0 win against Tunisia. They looked confident. They looked a little disjointed at times. They didn't quite look like they got the tactics spot on. Ajibade started in that 10 role. I'm not convinced that's her best position. I think she needs to be an 8 because she gets the most out of her kind of physicality, her engine, her long, powerful stride. But we saw some really, really kind of good things from Nigeria. First, Asisa Oshuala, yes, she's been struggling for injuries of late. Yes, it's not been the best couple of years for her. She's still got that class, and she showed that in that first goal. Other excitement, Rinsola Babajide. I didn't expect her to start. She was excellent. She was my player of the match. I know she didn't get the player of the match, but goal and an assist looks really good. And then some of the players they brought off the bench looked good. Ihezuo obviously got the third. Esther Okoronko looked really good. So this Nigeria team looks like they're ready to compete. Then Algeria in the other game got the win. They got the win over Botswana. I think Karchuni scored a lovely goal, actually. Lovely ball out wide for their Boutalev, their center forward, who pulled it back. Karchuni, a late run from the box to put them 1-0 up against Botswana. I think Algeria, you can't sleep on them, because Botswana are a good side. We know they're a good side. We know they can compete against the very best. They did at the last WAFCON when they were in a tough group with both South Africa and Nigeria. They still got out of that group. And they then gave troubles to Morocco later in the tournament. So they're not a bad side. And so for Algeria to go, they were the better side. They controlled them. They didn't let the likes of Radiakano, Folakele, Ditebe get any joy going forward. They shut them down, and they created a lot. Busaha looks good. Karchuni looks good. Boutaleb looks like a very good center forward holding up the play. Algeria, I think, with their path of that kind of, if they come second, they play second place in Group C. Don't sleep on them. I think that they can make it to the semifinals, and if they do, who knows where they go from there. They look like a solid team. Moving on to Group C, Banyana Banyana starting off their campaign, their defense. Now, I'm not going to tell you about it. I'm going to hand it over to our correspondent who's on the ground. Firdose Moonda was there in Wijda for that opening game, and she recorded a message and sent it to us. So we're going to hear from Firdose now. But if you've been enjoying the podcast, if you like what you're hearing, if you're saying, sick of these guys, they have such a big bias towards South Africa, all these South African journalists plus this Kenyan white guy, all favoring that, tell us, criticize us, let us know on the Whistle Podcast, wherever you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, etc. It makes a huge difference when you let us know, review us, give us a 5-star, give us a 0-star. If you don't like us. But yeah, please do. We really enjoy making the content. I will be out at the WAFCON for the quarterfinals, but we're going to keep covering it, both myself and Firdose, for you guys. Without further ado, Firdose is going to give us our match report from South Africa.
Hi, everybody from On the Whistle. It's Firdose Moonda here. I'm in Oujda in Morocco. You can see the beautiful Riyadh that I'm staying in. And I'm just going to record and chat to you about some of my thoughts of the women's AFCON so far. So first of all, as you can see, well, maybe you can't see, but it's really, really warm here. This is still my little exercise gear that I'm wearing. I'm going to go jump in the pool in a little bit just to cool off. We're talking kind of 30-ish degrees. It's dry heat. We're inland here, 15 kilometers from the Algerian border. And yesterday, when the game kicked off between Banyana Banyana and Ghana, it was around 35, 36 degrees about an hour before kickoff, and it had only really cooled off to about 33 degrees by the time the game started. So the players were under immense strain from the hot sun. There was no shadow over the ground, really. A small shadow started to form in the second half. But in the end of the game, it was still full sun. And you could just see the exhaustion on all the players, all of them, the Ghanaians, the South Africans. I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about the heats as we go on. But let me start at the beginning with a little bit of my journey in coming to Morocco and in what I've seen so far. So as some of you will know, I'm a cricket writer, and I was over in London covering the World Test Championship final. South Africa won, which means that they're now world champions in rugby, continental champions in women's football, world champions in cricket. I think somebody said they have the world's best weightlifter or sheep shearer or whatever it is. So really a great time to be a South African sports person and really to be celebrating sports in a country that, as we know, has so many problems and, is beset by corruption and crime and a sense of underachievement. So really great time to be involved in sport in South Africa. And then yesterday got to the stadium, very excited, was pretty much empty at kickoff. And for me, really cool to be able to hear Banyana Banyana singing from inside the change room as they walked out onto the field. So a lot of you know South African sport is all about song, and their voices are magnificent, really, really beautiful. They came out, they sang, they walked onto the field, and Ghana kind of walked in behind them without really like saying anything. So it was almost already there. You could see who's got the upper hand. Excuse me, the air is so dry. Anyway, so then the game got underway, and Banyana looked really, really sort of taken aback by the strength of Ghana. Their forwards, especially their number 9, I thought was really good, really strong, quick, good control on the ball. And they were carving up the Banyana defense. And remember, this is a Banyana defense that used to have Janine van Wyk and Noku Matlo, and now don't really have those two very experienced players. So it looked in the first 25 minutes like Ghana were going to score at any point. And then there was that challenge on Nokolo Sizani in the box, which we couldn't really see. There were no replays from the press box. So Desiree said she was certain it was in the box. And the penalty was awarded. And I think the way that that happened just changed momentum completely. Linda Motlahala took the penalty, and from the sideline, you know, she's small and she doesn't have like a very strong kick. So it looks like, oh goodness, is this actually going to go in? And of course, there's like echoes in my mind of when she didn't get the penalty against Nigeria in a very important final last time. So all of that was going through my head. But in the end, you know, she targets that low corner and knows that the keeper's probably not going to be able to get there. And the keeper, Cynthia Conlan from Ghana, had spoken to us before the game about some of her experiences. She plays in Saudi Arabia. So there was some interesting parallels on Cristiano Ronaldo saying that the men's league is already the 5th best in the world. And I asked Cynthia, you know, does she think the women's league is there and thereabouts? And she said, not yet, but that it could be, and that by 2030, which is what Saudi are aiming for, she thinks the league will be really good. Currently, she said the gap between the overseas players and the local Saudi players is really big. So yeah, it was sort of once that penalty happened, momentum really shifted. Banyana scored again. Jermaine Siopatswana with a really good finish. And of course, it's her last tournament. She's announced that she's retiring. So just to see her get off to such a great start, she also scored the opener against Nigeria in 2022. And now she scored again in the opening game. And I think she'll have an important role to play. For the rest of the match, I think Ghana, again, you know, they hit the woodwork twice. They looked like they could equalize at some point. Andile Dlamini was pretty busy, had to pull off quite a few saves. And I don't think that that was Banyana at their best. The heat definitely played a role. You could see around about 60 minutes, everybody dropped off. All the energy was taken out of the game. And then, like I said, at the end, just to see them all completely knackered, hands on knees, taking in air, like, thank goodness that is over. So for Banyana, it's great news because their next 2 games kick off at 8 p.m. and they'll be in cooler conditions. We've already seen, you know, once the sun sets, it starts to cool off. There's a slight breeze that comes through, and it's definitely more comfortable out there. And then if they top the group, they'll play the quarterfinal here as well. So they're not leaving this place anytime soon. There's not that much to do out here. The beach is about an hour's drive away. I haven't been there yet myself. I do think, you know, maybe they'll pay a visit. Maybe I'll pay a visit at some point. Because, you know, it's very important, I think, especially when the surroundings are maybe not what you're used to, just to get out a little bit, go do something else a little bit. But as far as defending their title goes, I don't think that was their best performance. Hopefully they'll get better as the tournament goes on. You always want the defending champions to be in it with a chance. And the last thing I kind of want to say before I leave you guys to it is that there's been a lot of issues leading up to this tournament, you know, the rescheduling, but also the in-tournament issues among the teams. So Nigeria and South Africa both threatening to go on strike for unpaid match fees. And then the actual logistical issues of the tournament. So far, 3 teams have complained about the accommodation, the DRC, Nigeria, and South Africa. We're also hearing that other teams are unhappy, but not necessarily going on the record saying so. Teams are complaining about the weather, and of course, nobody can really do anything about that except schedule at a different time or schedule in a different place. And I just don't know that it's really been the great advert for organization, especially when we're putting it up against the Euros, right? And that's unavoidable because the Euros are happening at the same time. So maybe we wouldn't be drawing these comparisons if these 2 tournaments weren't running on parallel tracks, but they are. And so we're going to look at the Euros and see 34,000 people watching the game between Switzerland and Norway and think, oh, how come we're not getting that here? Why did we only have, I don't know, 300 or 400 people? Although, of course, the weather would also tell us that, between the defending champions and Ghana. And we're going to look at the organization there. Hope, at some point the players will tell us what type of accommodation they've been in. I think African footballers have to put up with so much. I mean, they're not professional apart from Morocco. And they're not being treated as professionals. So it's really difficult. And what I'm impressed by is that they're able to turn up and put in elite performances, good performances, strong performances, some of them getting deals with the best clubs in the world, getting paid major money by Barbara Banda, Rachel Kundananji, for example. And they're doing all of this with so few resources. So it's a real testament to the resilience of these women and the struggles of what it is to be in the third world. And I also think, there is this exhaustion with having to be resilient all the time. We also want nice things, and it would be great to be able to see that happen. But I'm looking forward to the rest of the tournament. I'll be here in Wijda throughout, following Banyana Banyana. It's very difficult to get to other games, so I thought I'd be able to get to Berkane to watch yesterday's late game between Mali and Tanzania, but by the time the press conference and the media zone is over, that game's already kicked off. So there's no point going there. It's an hour's drive away. And I just think from a logistical point of view, things could have been done better. I covered the Women's T20 Cricket World Cup in the UAE last year, and the games were in Dubai and Sharjah, which is 45 minutes apart. I was able to get to pretty much every game. There was one out of the games that I didn't go to, and that was by choice. So yeah, that's the story from here. And looking forward to bringing you all the action as we move forward, and hopefully coming on live if the time zone allows. And yeah, I will catch you all soon, and hope that you enjoy the football, enjoy the WAFCON, enjoy the Euros, enjoy the Club World Cup. There's plenty to watch and to delight in. Cheers from me in Wijda.